The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
I'm going to say it again, and then I've got a very important question to ask you. But if that birth certificate is a fraud and a forgery, and if no other state claims his birth, and if Hawaii can't produce one, then the only option is that he is not from the United States. If that's true, then he is a foreign national and perhaps an illegal immigrant. Perhaps an illegal immigrant, people. Running our military, the commander-in-chief, an illegal immigrant. That's a distinct possibility as the investigation stands right now. Mike, you said that's true.
That's true. I mean, that would only be the conclusion that is left. Obviously, we don't have any indication that he, quote, we get into a constitutional problem.
That's right.
And I'm going to address, and I really don't want to go here because it's an argument that's probably going to ultimately have to be determined by a Supreme Court one day. But what you do have the natural-born citizen clause, and the natural-born citizen clause was put in there for a purpose.
Right.
And the purpose was to put separation between an individual who could be so close to another nation, either biologically or relationally, where they would have an allegiance to some place other than this country.
That's right.
And natural-born citizen is done by mechanism. It requires, by definition, 2 United States citizen parents.
Right.
And the place of birth either on U.S. soil, and I think it was later amended to, other military installations.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm. But that is by mechanism, and that is by God's design. It can only happen that way.
Right.
You have a situation here where the claim is, we already know that the individual, and I say purported because I don't really have evidence that Barack Obama Sr. is his father.
Well, that's true.
All I see is a picture and people wanting to tell me this.
Right.
But I don't have any evidence of it. We know that there is his mother, and again purported to be his mother, is a United States citizen. But I'm sorry to inform a lot of people, that doesn't qualify as natural born.
No, it doesn't. Thank you.
And it's a really tough pill for people to swallow.
All right, let me ask you this question then, because it goes right to that. What about this argument? I hear it all the time. I know the answer, but I want people, and I've said the answer, but I want people to hear it from you. And I had this asked of me today, not on the air, but just before I came on the air by an Obama supporter. Well, there were newspaper announcements in the papers in Hawaii, and that settles it for me. The newspapers wouldn't have put those in there if he hadn't been born in Hawaii. What say you to that, Mike Zullo?
All right, well, obviously, that would be a logical conclusion.
It would be.
Except it's factually flawed.
Right.
Hawaii is notorious for having satellite birth registry offices where individuals could literally go in and register another individual born in another country, a foreign birth, and register that birth in Hawaii and get a certificate of live birth.
Right.
Even though that person has never set foot on the soil of the United States of America.
And you guys have proof of that?
We have proof of that. We also have proof of individuals that were adopted, born in California, adopted in Hawaii, and given brand new certificates of live birth.
Wow.
And those were all put into that same registry.
Wow.
So what you have with this newspaper thing, that people seem to think this newspaper article trumps a birth certificate.
Right.
First of all, it does not.
Right.
But from their perspective, you're going back 50 years in time. Here's his birth record. It has to be so. Well, all it's telling you is this guy was born, but it doesn't tell you where.
That's right.
It doesn't tell you how. It doesn't tell you what time, what hospital, who the doctor was. It just says this person was born.
Right.
Well, we all know he was born.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.